My parents want me to raise my wife's child with my brother to receive money from my in-laws, but with the email I sent, they are terrified of losing everything. I am 28 years old and have been married for 3 years. My wife, Jade, is 26, and we've been together for almost 6 years. A few months ago, we had our first child. But recently, I found out that he is actually my brother's child. My brother, Grante, 32, has been having an affair with Jade for the past 3 years. It started a few weeks after we got married, and I had no idea until a few weeks ago. Honestly, I had been struggling to emotionally connect with the baby for some reason and felt like a terrible father because I simply didn't feel very connected to my own son. I still don't know why that was happening. Maybe it was an intuition. Anyway, one night I was talking to Jade about it and ended up crying because I felt so guilty. That's when she started sobbing hysterically instead of comforting me. At that moment, the whole truth came out. She tried to tell me that it wasn't my fault for not feeling connected to the baby because he definitely wasn't mine. She already had the paternity test but chose not to tell me because the affair had ended shortly after she found out she was pregnant. She and Grante hadn't had anything to do with each other since then. She wanted to focus on me and work on our marriage, but after she told me the truth, it was too late. I immediately started packing, and although it was very late at night, I left. Since then, I've been staying in a hotel. She tried to stop me, she was really upset, but I just left. I even blocked her so she couldn't contact me. Since then, it's been emotionally very difficult for me. During the first few days, I couldn't even process what was happening. I didn't even tell my parents, but they found out because of Jade. Instead of comforting me, they called me, said they knew everything, and immediately started telling me that everything that had happened was in the past. As her husband, I just had to forgive her and forget everything so we could focus on our family and fix our marriage. I had no idea what family they were talking about because, to me, that baby wasn't mine. It was ridiculous that they even suggested I raise the baby as my own and stay with Jade despite everything she had told me. I thought they were being irrational, but soon after, my dad finally told me the truth. Apparently, all of this was just business for my parents. My father-in-law was planning to invest in my dad's business to save it. My father-in-law has several successful businesses, and I know my parents have always been very impressed by the type of family I married into, but I never thought it would become so important to them. Apparently, this investment had been planned for quite some time, and they were planning to surprise us with it in a few weeks when everything was finalized. But now, if I decided to divorce Jade, it would affect their personal relationships. It would be questionable whether my father-in-law would still invest in the business, according to my parents. My dad seriously needed this investment if he wanted to move forward, so they wanted me to just endure it, not make a scene, and pretend everything was fine. They wanted me to raise my brother's child as my own and forgive my unfaithful wife just so they could get the investment they wanted. I was so disgusted that I hung up and blocked them. So, just to be cautious, I started looking for a lawyer. Once I found someone good enough, I filed for divorce about 3 days ago. Jade received the notice that same day. I then decided to contact my parents, my in-laws, all of my dad's business partners that I know, some of my dad's employees, some family friends, and several relatives to tell them the situation I was in. It took me a few hours to get all their email addresses, but when I did, I told them everything about how my wife had cheated on me with my brother and how, just because of the investment, my parents wanted me to stay silent and pretend everything was fine. After I sent the email, my parents are now bombarding my phone with emails, texts, and calls from various numbers and accounts. They are very upset with what I did because, obviously, they won't be getting that investment anymore, and the reputation has gone down the drain. They want me to blame myself as if that will change anything. They also told me that Jade is devastated and was diagnosed with postpartum depression, so this is only going to make things worse. She's completely miserable, and they're trying to make me feel guilty. But honestly, I don't feel bad about any of it. I feel like they completely deserved it. So, am I the villain for telling everyone the truth about my wife and my parents and publicly humiliating them? There have been many questions about the relationship between Grante, Jade, and me, and other details, so I think I should address this. Grante and I had a pretty normal relationship, like brothers do. So, all of this was completely unexpected. Since I found out, We haven't spoken a single time. I also had a pretty normal relationship with Jade. I never suspected anything was going on between them. Moreover, Grante has always been more of a loner and never seemed interested in committing to one woman for long. His job required a lot of travel, and he is also a very spontaneous person. He's very different from me. From what I knew, he was never really Jade's type, neither physically nor in terms of personality, so, of course, this didn't make sense to me. According to what Jade told me, they only started sleeping together after we got married and stopped when she found out she was pregnant. She could be telling the truth, or maybe not. Even during that time, I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary. Maybe they were just really good at hiding it, whatever it was. I always thought they were just friendly with each other, but nothing more. As for why Jade cheated on me, I really don't know. When she was trying to get me to stay and explain herself after telling me the truth, she said a lot about me working too much early in our marriage. At that time, I had just started working because I didn't want to continue in my dad's business. I knew I had to work hard if I wanted to progress. Of course, people may say I was serious about my work, but I never worked excessively or brought work home. I think she was just bored and needed an excuse to sleep with someone else, and that's what she did. Everything else is just her attempts to justify herself because she doesn't want to admit it was entirely her fault. That's basically all I know about Grante and the situation with Jade. That's all for now. Thanks to everyone for the comments and support. It really means a lot to me, especially now, given the situation I'm in. Almost everyone hates me, whether it's my parents or my in-laws, who think I was wrong to tell so many people what Jade did. People who, according to them, didn't need to know. A few days have passed, and basically, I've been drowning myself in work, at the office, or going back to the hotel to pay off messages and emails my parents send from other accounts. They are relentless. They just won't stop. I keep blocking them, but they keep creating new accounts and numbers. I don't even understand why they're doing this, because the damage is already done. My apologies won't change the truth or make them more respectable. Also, a few days ago, even my in-laws contacted me and said the email wasn't necessary. They could see who else I had sent it to and knew I had sent it to several people who knew my parents, just to humiliate them. But by doing this, I also ended up humiliating Jade. I don't understand why I should feel bad about that. This woman literally cheated on me with my brother and was willing to pretend the baby was mine, letting me raise my brother's child as my own until she broke down that night. What she did was disgusting. She completely deserved it. Anyway, I didn't bother to respond because I just want to move on with my life. Right now, I'm just waiting for Jade's lawyer to respond to the divorce petition. In my opinion, it was pretty fair, and I just hope she doesn't make a fuss about it. As for the baby, he's not mine, so I won't contribute in any way. He may be listed as my son on the birth certificate, but that doesn't matter to me. It's not that I hate the baby or anything like that. Actually, if anyone is innocent in all this, it's the baby, and I do feel bad because he'll have to suffer because of how his parents ruined everything. But still, it's not my responsibility to take care of a baby who isn't biologically mine, especially when it's my brother's. If she mentions anything about the baby, just know that I won't budge in any way. I'm preparing for any possible scenario because I don't know what to expect now. I haven't spoken to Jade since I left, and I really don't want to talk to her ever again. I know she's suffering right now. Enough people have told me that. And even when I left, I could tell she was really affected. I just hope this misery doesn't lead her to believe she can contest the divorce and somehow force me to stay, because that's not going to happen under any circumstances. I'll do whatever it takes, but I'm getting out of this situation. In the meantime, I'm crossing my fingers that she doesn't prolong this or make it harder than it already is. Please keep me in your thoughts, hoping she doesn't contest the divorce and doesn't make things worse for everyone involved. She still has a few days to respond, so I just hope she makes the right decision. It's been a week since my last update, and today I finally heard from Jade, through her lawyer. Fortunately, she's not contesting the divorce, but now another problem has come up. She proposed a child custody agreement. She wants me to take responsibility as if I were the biological father, and included a note saying I'm the person listed on the birth certificate, even though I'm not the biological father. Over the past few months, I've been involved in the baby's life, so she believes I should take responsibility, whether I like it or not. This has been really frustrating because I don't think the name on the birth certificate means anything compared to the results of a paternity test. So, I spoke with my lawyer immediately afterward, and we decided to proceed with the process to annul the paternity and get legally exempted. Until the legal process is completed, they still assume I'm the legal father, but the baby is only 4 months old, so I don't think it matters much yet. I hope the process is concluded soon. My lawyer assured me it won't be difficult because, given how young the baby is, it's highly unlikely my absence will affect him in any way. Over time, he'll probably forget I was part of his life. It would have been a problem if I had found out later, when the child was older, but for now, it's okay. I'm really thankful I found out when I did because I don't know how emotionally difficult this could have been for me to deal with later. I might have gotten attached to the baby, and things would have gotten much more complicated. I'm also glad, in a way, that at the beginning I couldn't connect with the baby. I read about this in detail, and apparently, many first-time fathers experience this. I thought it might go away over time, and I'd bond with the baby like other fathers, but thank God that didn't happen. Feeling guilty about this and confessing it to Jade was what led to the truth coming out. That's the only positive part of this entire situation for me right now. Besides that, in recent days, my parents have decided to stop bothering me, at least for now. I don't know what they're planning for the future, but fortunately, they haven't sent anything in the last few days. It's been complete silence. Now that I finally have some time to think about the future, I've been considering moving out of the hotel and getting an apartment near my workplace. Right now, I don't want to do anything but work and sleep. Of course, I can't stay in the hotel forever. At some point, it's going to get too expensive. I've asked some friends to recommend a real estate agent, and I'll see how that goes. Finally, I also started responding to everyone who replied to my email. Many of them were very understanding and supportive of me. I'm not sure if it was genuine or not, but I thought I should respond, just out of courtesy. Now that I think about it, it must have been really inconvenient for them to receive an email like that. The least I could do was respond. Almost 90% of the people in my family to whom I sent the email replied with words of sympathy and told me everything would be fine. Most of the employees just ignored the email, but some of my father's partners responded similarly. I thanked everyone, even some who didn't contact me directly but heard about it from other sources. I'm pretty sure this must have spread like wildfire, like family gossip, but as long as people are coming forward to support me, I'm fine with it. At least they're not trying to pry into my life or ask for more details. It might seem a bit desperate, but I'm fully okay with accepting any kind words that come my way, whether from friends or family, genuine or not. Even though I'm really upset, I still miss her. I miss being with her. I miss my parents and my family, and I miss when everything was normal. I think it's totally natural to feel this way. Although they betrayed my trust, it's not like a switch I can just turn on and off. It'll take a long time to process all of this. For now, I'm in a strange place. I don't know how to handle it. I feel really alone right now, but I think eventually I'll be okay. Maybe I'll never fully accept it because Jade was the first woman I really loved, but life won't stop for me. I still have to work, take care of practical things, and move forward. It's horrible, but that's how things are. Since I filed the petition to annul the paternity a week ago, both of my parents have been subpoenaed to family court. And of course, Jade lost it over this. She didn't know how to contact me, so she decided to create a fake Facebook account and started calling me on Messenger. This happened yesterday, while I was in a meeting, so my phone was on silent and I didn't notice. Later, when I checked, I saw she had called me about 12 times in a 45-minute span and had also sent me a ton of messages. By not responding, she got pretty angry and upset because, according to her, Grant and I had ruined her life. According to what she said, it wasn't her who ended things with Grant after the pregnancy. It was him who left her when he found out she was pregnant because he didn't want things to get serious. That's when she decided to be with me, because at least I was committed to her, but then she found out Grant was the father and tried to contact him again. This time, he told her to terminate the pregnancy because he wasn't ready to be a father and had no intention of committing to her. She kept trying to contact him, but he simply ignored her and eventually blocked her. She told me all of this in her messages and now accuses me of abandoning her too, just like my brother did. According to her, both of us ruined her life. leaving her stuck with a baby on her own. Grant made it very clear that he has no interest in raising the baby with her. Even if she manages to get him to pay child support, he won't assume his role as a father and says that both she and the baby will be the ones to suffer. I don't understand how this is my fault. I can understand why she thinks Grant ruined her life, even though she had an affair with him, knowing exactly what kind of person he was and that he didn't like commitment, but I don't understand how she blames me. The mental gymnastics here are incredible. After reading her messages, it became clear that she just wanted to play the victim. I wasn't interested in talking to her, so I blocked her. If she knows what's good for her, she won't contest the annulment of paternity and will let me move on without any issues. To save time, money, and resources, she should focus on making Grant take financial responsibility. She's chasing the wrong brother. That's all I have to say about that. Anyway, this whole situation will be settled in court, so I don't want to worry about it now. In addition to Jade, I also had my parents on my back, but recently I think they've decided to leave me alone. In my last update, I mentioned they hadn't bothered me for a few days, and since then, they haven't sent any messages. This might be the calm before the storm, or they simply realize they've lost their reputation and investment, and making me apologize won't get them anywhere. From what I've heard, after talking to some relatives, my parents have been completely absent. They deactivated all their social media accounts, stopped talking to the family, and even my father's business has been inactive for quite a while. Relatives believe he's in the process of selling everything, which would explain why everything is shut down. If that's the case, I know he'll be really sad because he was very proud of what he had built. My father is nearing 50, so I just hope he has saved enough to retire because I don't think he can go back to working for someone else at this stage in his life. I'm not on good terms with him right now, but I know he used to be a tireless worker. Maybe he's made some mistakes recently, but before that, he always tried to be a good father to me. Honestly, I hope things work out for him. Even if they don't have me, they still have Grant, who makes good money, even though he's not home much. I don't think that matters. He doesn't have family, and I also don't think he has any intention of starting one. If my parents haven't saved enough, they can always count on Grant, considering him their retirement plan. As for Jade, I hope she does the same and manages to get some child support from him. That will be fun, at least for me, though not so much for him. But after everything he did to my relationship with my wife and the life I had built for myself, that's the least I can wish for him. That's all for now. I'll post here again if anything else happens. Please continue to keep me in your prayers. And once again, thank you all so much for your support and care. I haven't posted here in a while because I've been very busy. I think my last update was about 5 weeks ago, but during that time, I managed to annul the paternity. This means I won't have to pay any child support or take on any responsibility. It was a big win for me, especially because I thought Jade would try to drag it out as long as possible. Fortunately, she didn't put up any more obstacles. I guess she realized it would be a waste of time, money, and resources because, obviously, the family court judge wasn't a fool. She had already refused to cooperate and provide the paternity test results, so I had to get one privately. But no matter what I did, it wouldn't change the results. She could have kept her paternity results for 10 years and still wouldn't have shown I was the father. Anyway, I managed to prove the baby wasn't biologically mine, and since I had only been in his life for a few months, my absence wasn't considered to have a significant impact. So I got what I wanted. Since then, I haven't had any contact with Jade, and she hasn't tried to bother me. As for my parents, I heard from some relatives that they sold the business and are packing their bags to move. They only told a very small group of people where they're going, basically those who supported them through all this mess. However, it's not hard for me to guess. I think they're going to my uncle's house in Iowa so that my mom can join her brother and help manage the farm she and my uncle inherited from their parents. That's always been their plan, and she had suggested it to my dad several times before. However, he never wanted to leave the city. They used to argue about it quite often, but now I guess he has no choice. So, he finally agreed. At least this way, my dad can still be part of a family business, just not the one he thought he'd be running forever. All of this is in the past now. I've been trying to get over everything that happened. I'm going to therapy, hitting the gym, and working actively on myself. I wouldn't say I'm completely healed, that would be a lie, but I'm in the process of moving forward. Some days are great, and others are very hard, but I'm getting through it. It's been almost 6 months since my last update. A lot of time has passed, and now I'm much better. I got promoted at work. Thanks to all those months I drowned myself in work just to keep distracted. Definitely not a healthy coping mechanism, but at least something positive came out of all this mess. Also, I'm officially divorced now. The divorce was finalized a few months ago, but I forgot to mention it here because there wasn't much to divide, and she didn't ask for any alimony or anything like that. It was a relatively simple process, and we just had to wait for the mandatory waiting period to finalize everything. So, officially, we're divorced now. We hadn't spoken since then, but a few weeks ago I heard from some mutual friends that she moved back to her parents' house and is now raising the baby with them. Until recently, she lived alone in the house we used to live in together. I guess she can't afford the rent without me, or maybe just appreciates the extra help her parents can offer. In fact, that's what made me post this update. Until now, I've been very busy with my life, but when our mutual friends shared this gossip a few weeks ago, it reminded me to update here. As for Grant, I think he's the only one who came out unscathed from all this. Honestly, I'm a bit envious of him. From what I've heard from relatives and others, it seems like he's doing fine, but in the end, he's still a homewrecker and a terrible person. So, I think karma will catch up with him eventually. In the meantime, the only person I'll focus on is myself. Thanks again for all the support and words of encouragement over these months. I'm ready to move on. It's only been a month, but I already have something else to share, and this time, it comes from Grant, with whom I had an interesting conversation. Imagine that he's one of the last people in this world I wanted to see, along with my ex-wife. But he had something important to say, as he updated me on Jade and her baby. He started by saying that he'd wanted to talk to me for a while but didn't know if I would welcome him without things escalating. And he was right, because 2 or 3 months ago, if we were in the same situation, I might not have been able to say 2 words before jumping on him to beat him up. I should thank therapy for helping me progress a lot in erasing some of the anger I had toward him. If it weren't for that, we wouldn't have had the conversation. Unless they let me use a computer in prison. Anyway, getting to the topic at hand, he told me that the baby wasn't even his. Jade asked for child support, and because of that, he demanded a paternity test. She supposedly had one, but it's not like I saw it. Let's just say I wasn't interested in what she said. It wasn't him who was the father, that was enough for me. Grant didn't ask for a test when she told him she was pregnant because he didn't want to be a father and asked her to abort. He didn't care afterward when he found out she would go ahead with the pregnancy, since I'd take care of it. For that reason, along with so many others, we'll never be brothers again. So, I don't know who the father is, but at least neither Grant nor I are, which narrows down the possibilities. I hope she knows and hasn't had so many partners that she can't figure it out now. The good thing for me is that I got tested for STDs and I'm clean. The only good thing I can say about my ex-wife is that at least she confessed. I don't know if she did that because she felt guilty or simply because she thought her parents' money would keep me stuck in this marriage. But anyway, I'm grateful. Something else we can thank therapy for. Still, I hope that baby doesn't grow up around her and that some relative takes charge, because if not, a very dark future awaits it.